I grew up in Alaska. I lived there with my dad, my mom, my sister, and my 2 brothers. I loved Alaska. I loved to ride snow machines, which in my new school people call them snowmobiles. One winter when I was 4 years old, my dad, siblings, and I went to Minnesota to stay with my dad's family for a while, just because. I remember baking cookies with my grandma. We got to see many new places, Bismarck, Moorhead, and Minneapolis. Then, after a month had passed, we got back to Alaska. My mom missed us so much that when we got back, she took us to our favorite restaurant for a family meal. My whole family was together again, but I could tell something wasn't right with my parents. They hardly spoke a word to each other. Eventually, my dad moved out and was in another relationship. One Friday, when my brothers, sister, and I were getting ready to go visit my dad in his new place, my mom told us we couldn't. My dad was in jail. I spent the next 7 years wishing I could see my dad. We got to visit him about 10 times the whole time he was in jail. I would get so sad and lonely thinking about my dad and how he was missing out on my childhood. The hardest part for me is that nobody ever told me why my dad couldn't come home. When I was 12, my dad finally got to come home. Then I was 13, I moved out of my mom's house so I could live with my dad. It was so fun to finally be with my dad again. He took us on adventures. We would go gold mining and sledding. When I was 14, my dad asked my brother and me if I wanted to visit his family in Minnesota again. We both said that we would like to go. We spent the summer with my grandma and my auntie. My auntie was going through a difficult time. Her husband had cancer. He died that September. I had been getting into trouble in the school I went to in Alaska. Fights, bad grades, skipping school, you name it. We thought that coming to Minnesota might be a fresh start for me. Last September, I moved with my auntie and I started going to school in Rothsay. This year has been great for me. I've only missed 3 days of school this whole year compared to almost 70 last year. My grades are much better and my family is proud of me. My dad came to visit after Christmas for 3 weeks. I felt so happy to see him after 6 months apart. Experiencing much of my life, living away from my dad and now also my mom, has shaped who I am. I learned that I need to be myself and not try to be someone else. I learned that teachers aren't really out to get me. They really will help me be a better person. But most of all, I've learned that no matter how far apart we are still a family, and I love my family very much.